So one of the questions we have is, how can I start and sustain a career in tech as a family woman?
Can I say something about that?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I know one of the reasons why women are generally encouraged to go into fields like STEM, and why we have upper hand when we have applications to submit, is because of the fact that you can really not compare a woman to a man, especially when you started having a family. In my own case, I had my children when I was in college. I had my first son when I was in my first year. I had my second child when I was in my third year. And then I had my last child after I came back from NYSC. So it was really a lot. And even when I started working full time, and when we attend women network opportunities like that, the questions that I do ask them is, okay, how do I actually navigate the idea of raising your children, dealing with your family, and still being able to push it? And there's one thing that I usually tell myself, and which is like the most important factor. It is exactly who you are, or what is your vision for life, right? So even when all of these challenges come, you have like a clear goal, that because sometimes you might have to take a break. I didn't graduate when my mates were graduating, because at some point I have to leave school like a year and then come back. So my mates graduated before me. And when I came back to school, I had to like join student that came a year after mine. So, and it still didn't stop me from achieving my goals, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. At some point I have to go to Ghana to study for a master's, right? I just have to find a way around it, right? Sometimes your family will have to be there for you, but the bottom line is you must know exactly where you are going. What do you want to do with your life? And so you won't say because you are a woman, then everything should go up. Of course, it's not going to be that easy, but there are times that you have to make sacrifices. There are times you have to get support from your family. But as long as you have something that is like the pushing force, right, you will keep going it. And I won't say because as you are a woman, because as a woman, you also have like some things that are, your age is clocking, you want to be a career woman, you want to do all of that. It's not going to be something easy. I remember when I came into the US, I couldn't go on for conferences. I get a lot of opportunities to, because you get like conferences that are supposed to be yearly. I had to pen it for like 2 years to say, okay, I have to understand this system. When I go to conferences like that, and we have like women part of the conference, those are the questions that I ask them. So, okay, how are you doing your publication? As a woman, how are you coping with it? So I just take some of their knowledge and apply it to mine. So for me, very key, know exactly what you want to achieve with your life. Have set goals. 5 years time, what do I want to get? What do I want to achieve in 10 years time? And don't allow you raising your family to stop you from achieving those goals.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful answer. Temilade, did you want to
I
add to that?
honestly, Doctor, I'm not a family woman, by the way. I'm not married yet. But Dr. Osaye honestly answered it like perfectly. And I will summarize her answer by saying resilience. Because as a family woman, you care about your husband, you care about your kids. She gave, and thank you, Dr. Saibo, for being very practical. You had to take a step back at some point and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to pause, focus on my kids maybe for like 1 year, 2 years. Okay, I'm going back again. So there's that resilience and not giving up. Say, there's some people that get married and say, I have a friend who got married, she wants to go for a master's degree. And in between the marriage, she gave birth to a first child. The professor that wanted to make her like a teaching assistant says, hey, I'm very sorry, because of you just put to bed. Do you mind if we defer by 1 year? They deferred by 1 year. The following year is like, oh, I'm very sorry, I don't have like, I think money to support your tuition and stuff. That means she had to like reapply for grad school again. You have to be very resilient. Say, I would not give up. Like, I would not give up. Yes. I mean, it's hurtful. It's painful. Like, hey, see my male colleague, me, all because I gave birth, money has moved 2 levels. I think get used to if you focus too much on what is going on, you will be distracted from where you want to go. Okay, this has happened. Cry if you want to, but just move. I have a mindset, even though people think I'm weird. If someone breaks my heart, I cry. 1 week later, I move on. Like, I can't keep just crying and say, oh, my life will be in shambles. This, like, whatever happens to you, cry, do whatever emotional stuff you want to. I'm very emotional, by the way, but please, my darling, you have to move on. Like, it is what it is. And she said, like, support. Please don't. There's no time to fight your parent or your siblings. I promise you, you will need them. Like, this is not the time to fight your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your cousins. You would need them because those are like the first set of support you would most likely need. Support is, even me that I'm not yet married, so the level of support I'm getting from my family, I really give a big shout out to them. So please, support is very important. But I think for me, I just want to hammer that resilience. Please, you have to have a very tough skin. Your life might not go the smooth way an average person who is not yet a family woman is going, but that's fine. Whatever happens, bounce back. Okay, where am I now? Okay, the goal is still this. Okay, with what can I do? Blah, blah, blah. I just want to, like, this is me just summarizing everything she has said. I think the key word for me, from what I heard from her story, is just being resilient and not giving up regardless.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And okay, so we're just going to take one more question from here before looking into the chat. So this one says, how do you stay motivated even when growth feels stagnant?
I think
Oh,
it's
sorry,
part
am
of the
I?
thing that
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I can hear you. I think it's part of the thing that I said, and she also summarized it. You know, I got a message from someone a few weeks ago, and she was like, I just put to bed. She was supposed to go for a master's as well. And then she couldn't travel because as a woman, she has a baby, right? Then how were you able to cope with all of those times you were in school and you had your family and all of that? And she summarized it, resilience. And the fact is that you would not always get what you want. It's not always going to be exactly what you want. Okay. I've used it myself as an example that I made lots of sacrifices. Like sometimes I remember when I had to defer my admission, I was home, my friends were in school, and I was an undergrad. So I remember there was a time my friend came back from school and she was like, oh, you were at home. Sometimes you want to feel shy that, oh, your mates were in school and now you're at home waiting for your baby to grow up a little bit. Those are just part of the things that you will encounter as a woman. And there's really nothing you can do about it, except if you don't want to have a family, right? At some point in time, even when you are finished schooling and you want to have a family and you want to go into career, you will always have to make sacrifices, right? And that's the way it is designed. So, like she said, you must have a thick skin. You know exactly what you want to achieve. It might include a little bit of some delays, but the point is you know exactly what you want to do. When I completed my master's, I didn't have any scholarship, right? I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was at home one day looking at myself, I don't know exactly what to do. And I was scrolling through Facebook. And then I saw my mates in secondary school. This one was in the UK. And I said, no, I can't sit here and be wallowing in pain and be thinking of what next to do. But one of the things that have really helped me is not having a comfort zone. Like, oh, you get to a point and you feel relaxed in it. It doesn't always have to look exactly the way you want, but you must keep pushing. I go out every time, I go online to just look for opportunities, right? The scholarship that got me to go to Ghana, it was just me being curious. I was just online searching for things. And a lot of times, these people will always consider that you're also a woman because they know that the conditions for men might be different. So there are scholarships right now. I know of that scholarships. I know of some other scholarships like that, where the condition is maybe for a postdoc is 45 years, but for a woman, they will expect you to explain maybe you've had a break in time where you have to take care of family. It's a valid reason that you can always leverage. So for a woman, just know exactly what you want to do with your life and ignore the rest. Scholarships will come. You will get a lot of it. And I can guarantee you as a woman, you have much more opportunities out there. A lot of women are not even taking advantage of the scholarship that are there, the opportunities that women have. So don't just get tired. Just be curious. Go online. I'm also taking an MBA now. I really just don't know why I need it, but I felt that I want to have an understanding of how the stock market works, how leadership roles are being run, right? How those things, how organizations are generally. What if I have to become a director at some point? I don't want that time to come before I get prepared for it. I'm just preparing myself now. And I have learned a lot, even how to lead your own, how to manage your resources, right? I have an assignment that is due today. So for you to understand that you can't just sit back and wait for things to happen. Just be curious. Just go online. Like she said, you have so much technological advancement right now. You can go to Chat, you can go to Gemini, a lot of AI resources that will tell you what to do. So put a time frame, right? I look at myself and I say, no, I want to also be here, right? Irrespective of what the challenges might be. I started my master's in Nigeria. I took my children with me. I said, no, I have to go for a master. It wasn't easy, but I have to do it. In the process of starting the master's program, I get a scholarship opportunity, right? So it comes with a lot of sacrifice. If you are a woman, you must be ready to sacrifice if you want to like be in your career field and be able to succeed in it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Osaye. Really, thank you. I just like that you're saying like the plain truth. I don't understand. I said, don't worry, because you're a woman, you just knock on that door, it's open. Thank you for saying like some of the doors you even knocked that maybe for personal reasons, the door opened, but you couldn't proceed. I think that one thing I want to add to what you've said is I am learning. I always remind myself that I am the CEO of my own mind. You feel you are stuck. Let's even define this stuck. Let's even say, okay, you've applied to school 2-3 times, it's not working. I always ask myself, that being stuck that we say, that moment we are being stuck, okay, that means we have some free time to do other things, really. So in that waiting season, what are we doing? Are we just there like Dr. Ty just scrolling? Really to graduation? God, no. If you keep doing those things, you keep messing with your mind. If you have to go off social media, it's not like you're jealous of people. I think that sometimes unconsciously our mind just float out, oh my God, this thing is going on in this person's life. And it's always good to be self-aware of your thoughts so you don't find yourself going into the angle of jealousy. Like catch yourself, okay, I think that this social media thing is too much. Let me just like go away for a while. I don't believe in wallowing in pain. I don't know where I got that mindset from. I think that it's fine to cry, but not like too much. If you feel you are stuck, what are you doing with those moments you are stuck? What if you challenge yourself that this moment I'm stuck? Since I applied for this job, they've not gotten back. Maybe I'll challenge myself to write one article a day, or read one article a day, or read one book in 2 months, or maximize those periods where you in coach, you think you are stuck. Before I transitioned to Google, I did apply to over 30 jobs as a then I would apply. Some call me for interview. It was so annoying. I was frustrated. I felt like I was stuck. I wanted to leave my previous job. It wasn't working. The ones I'm applying for, I started even doubting, this is my first class. They will say finish your first class, job is running after you. Me, I'm running after a job. Job is not even waiting for me. Job is running away. It was so frustrating. I would not lie that those period, that being stuck is not a frustrating moment. But guess what? Some days I cry, some days I Netflix, but most of those time I'm like, you know what, we move. What new certification can I take? What can I do in my life? I attended conferences, spoke with people. Just maximize that stuck period. Don't just use that whole, if you are stuck for 6 months, don't use that 6 months to cry and complain. You might use 1 month out of that 6 months to the remaining 5 months. Use it, okay, what can I do with what is going on? Okay, let me give you a random example. I'm not a mother yet. You applied as a mom. Okay, maybe this next 1 year I'll do family bonding time. Like, let me be more intentional with my family. Like, it doesn't mean you are losing out. If the academic part is not working for 1 year, set a new goal for yourself. Okay, maybe while I wait to reapply next year, let me be closer to my siblings. My siblings, let's be more intentional. Okay, my friendship with spiritual things. Just set other goals. Don't just let one setback affect like every other aspect of your life. I think that's what I'm trying to say. As I say, you're the CEO of your mind. If you stay there, that I'm stuck, you'll just be stuck, really. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your answers. Those were really helpful. And does anyone want to ask any questions verbally? We'll just give space for that before going into the questions that are on the chat. You can just signify by raising your hand with the reaction, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, so while we're waiting, in case anyone wants to ask, you can still raise your hands, but just to move on to the ones in the chat in an interest of time, So Sarah says, thanks for the presentation, doctors. My question is how to keep good relationships with mentors and bosses.
I could go first, but I don't know if the question is addressed to Dr. Osaye.
I think it's for both of you.
Okay. How to keep relationship with mentors and bosses. I'll just tell you practical things I do. I mean, I have so many people that have been great blessings to me. If I say I should buy gifts for everybody, I'll be broke. So every year, I mean, some things are like very subtle, and some of these people, maybe a billionaire, and I wouldn't want to give a billionaire right now at this stage of my life. Like, some things are very subtle, but I think it's the thoughts that counts. On their birthdays, you even remember to greet them happy birthday. You don't have to, or they say, I want to, your mentor or boss says, I want to launch a book. Can I be a volunteer on your team in the launching, in the editing? Like, there are small ways you can be of help to people. One of the things I started in about 2 or 3 years ago, I was at Nigerian then, and I was at Nigeria rather then, excuse me, and I had like some senior folks that have helped me and they don't live in Nigeria. I mean, Amazon, I can't even order anything from Amazon with my Naira, dollar, all of those constraints were there. I would write a personalized on Canva, design a personalized thank you card, and I will send it to their email. And I've always gotten good feedback. Remind them of 1 or 2 or 3 things they've done. Those are ways I've, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Those are ways I've kept in touch. They post that, okay, they got a promotion. Okay, after you say thank you to their LinkedIn, also like go to their DMs. Hey, Madam Osaye, I just heard that you became like Dean of Faculty of Mathematics. Ma'am, just like do those things. Don't just everywhere they say something, even without them asking, do you mind if I volunteer? I've taken so many initiatives that some of these guys are like, Temilade, thank you. I mean, at some point as you progress in life, please start using your money to buy gifts for people, like buy gift and say thank you. But at the same time, no pressure. There are little ways to say thank you. A text message, a card, even like a 1,000 naira card, 500 naira card, send it to them, ask them how you can volunteer, ask them how you can be of help to them. At least make sure that maybe once a quarter or once in 6 months, don't be disturbing them with every happy new month every month, or don't be sending me happy new month every month. But at least every once in 6 months, once a quarter, like just stay top of mind really, but don't do it too much where it gets like annoying. Like just do it with some form of strategy. Those are ways that have worked for me. For example, your mentor is doing like a webinar. Dr. Osaye, I just paid for your webinar. I'm looking forward to your session, ma. Excited. She'll be so happy that Temilade finds joy in, I mean, what I'm doing. She's not looking for the others. Like, come and give me free tickets now. Come and give me. It might mean there are moments in my life, and I'm not, honestly not lying here, where I've literally gone above my means, because I know this mentor means a lot to me. I just have to like just show this one level of like sacrifice or something. So please, yes, do the old card, thank you, all of those things. Comment on their social media posts, but at the same time, when God blesses you and you can give like gift, like good gift, could be like a $50 Amazon voucher. They might chuckle, but they'll just smile that I really see the hearts where this thought is coming from and all of those things, or where this gift is coming from. Yeah, those are ways that work for me.
Okay. What I would just generally say is this: one of the things that will keep you growing is positive character. You can have all the qualifications in this world. You can have your master's, have a PhD, have the requirements for the job. But what will keep you growing in that field or in that environment is your ability to build positive relationship with people. It's extremely important. And one of the things money can really not buy is genuine relationship. So for mentors, and I think for bosses, it's quite different. And I'm going to say this generally because it's not a condition of African thing. We didn't have had supervisors that are white people. I've worked with a lot of white people, with Chinese and all of that. What we think it is normal might not necessarily be normal for them. And so one of the things you will have to do is when you find yourself in the midst of people is study who they are. Right? I've had my PhD supervisor, you cannot literally help him to carry bag. Find that insulting. or you want to buy them personal gifts. In fact, when you are graduating, he buys you gifts, right? He doesn't see why you should be the one. So our cultures, our beliefs are quite different. But if you find yourself within a working environment, you have to make sure that, one, you cannot really make friends with people you work with. You have them as colleagues, be genuine, be open-minded, be open to volunteering, like she said. Let them see that you are actually a genuine person. You are a truthful person. That is one of the things that we lack as Blacks. But having genuine integrity, let people know that this person is always going to be true to their word, right? And for me, mentors are people that you want to look up to. You also don't want to be, and because if you are dealing with a Black person, it's different from dealing with a white person. You don't want to always want to give them gifts. They count that as something that have some intentions behind it. So you have to study the person you want to deal with. Be sure that this is what they like, this is what they do. But out of all of these things, make sure that they know who you are. And I'm going to round up with this last example. I remember this last job that I got. I was really not planning on leaving my position. Somehow, one of my friends called and said, oh, I saw a position here at Troy, and they are looking for someone in your field. Why don't you try? I jokingly, like 2 months after, I just put in the application. I was not expecting them to call back. But when they wanted to do the interview, right, they were not even interested in me. They went back to call my previous employer, right? My boss at that time, he was more like a supervisor person, the person that I worked with at that time. They made a phone call with that person. And then they made a phone call with also another colleague that I've worked with. So if my character was bad or I was such a bad person, it wasn't about what I wanted to say or about my CV. It was more about what people are saying about me. And these people are those that work in different places. And in a society like America, you cannot afford not to have good character. They will call your former bosses. They will go to your schools, your former supervisors, your lecturers. Those are the ones they are interested in talking to. So you want to build positive. You have to first have positive character before you can show it up. So one of the things I would say is that it's easy to build good relationship if you have positive character in you yourself. So you want to develop who you are, your mindset about life, how you talk to people, how you relate to people as a person. It will naturally just flow to others, whether at a place of work where you meet people.
Thank you. Thank you both so much for that answer. That was amazing. Yeah, I think character sometimes can be something that people overlook, and they don't understand that it's really important as well in maintaining relationships. So thank you very much for reiterating how important that is. And so our last question for today, in the interest of time, is Hajarat's question. I believe the first part of that question was answered, which says, apart from networking, connecting, and working hard, what else should a lady do to find a good placement in engineering? I believe you have answered that in the course of the presentations and also the other questions that were answered. So for the second part, I believe it's talking about so it says, and also STEMs should provide internship opportunities for females in STEM as well. We have great women in great positions and help young females. So I believe this part is asking about internship opportunities. So if you both have any resources you could share, or any organizations that you know that they can reach out to, or that people can reach out to for opportunities in STEM, if you could share on those.
I don't know what exactly the question is, but and I think she has said it, like, and it also depends on the location of the person, because the system in Nigeria is, I studied in Ghana, I studied in South Africa, and then I'm in the US now. So I remember some of the interviews they asked me, was that, oh, you worked in this country. I could tell what the system is in those countries. But so it literally actually depends on the country where you are. But in all of this, there's Google. Like, you just every day make it a point of contact to just go online to check. Like, I can tell you for sure, everything that I am today is just because of my curiosity. Like, I don't just sit and wait for someone to help me. I just go online. What is the latest is for me to come to the US, I used to like work with my supervisor in South Africa. And one day I was just curious, summer schools in this summer. And then I saw one that was online in the US, and it's more like US mathematicians and Africans meet at some point. And I was not even interested. I just submitted it. However, when they wanted to get in touch, they got in touch with my professor at that time and told him, oh, we need a lot of people. And they eventually took all of us from that lab to the program. So it was just curiosity. And my first contact of coming to the US was also based on out of curiosity. I was just like, there. And these people, okay, we were already looking for people from Africa. Why don't you just come to this workshop? And coming to that workshop was very helpful. I met a lot of people. I networked with a lot of professors, a lot of people from the industry. So you cannot just sit and expect things to happen. Right now, like you said, you have a lot of opportunities. Google is there, ChatGPT is there. Just go on those. They will tell you literally the information that is available now. That is actually the fastest way to get opportunities. It's faster than anything you can think of. And even when you talk about placement in engineering, in any field, it is just you being curious. Don't just like wait and say, okay, let this person send this to me. Apply for as many as possible. Whether they take you or not, it doesn't matter. One of them will eventually work. So just keep putting your applications there. There's a lot when it comes to dealing with women or helping women to grow. And one thing that I will always say is this: when you have opportunities, don't care whether you are going to be able to make it or not. First, grab that opportunity, take it, and then start figuring out how to deal with it later. That's actually the best way to win opportunities. Whatever opportunity you get, just take it. Then you can start figuring it out later on.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hello. Good evening.
I asked a question. I said, what can one do if in their younger days they had bad character and now it's difficult to get quality reference, especially from their undergraduate lecturers? Because personally, I am experiencing that now. And yes, it's a mistake. I understand. We grow up, but self-awareness and growth with the soft skills, I acknowledge that. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm taking responsibility for myself. And yeah, what can I do? Yeah.
I'm taking a stab at this. I love your mindset, and I am super impressed hearing you speak. What has been done has been done. Like, yes, you acknowledge your past, you've picked learnings from your past. Now you're looking at the future. A couple of things that come to mind. Number one, I mean, I don't know how bad it is. Like, I don't know how bad you burnt the bridge. You might
It's not
be
bad, but I used to be quite rude.
Okay. I wanted to say you might be quite fortunate to like go back to them and say, hey, sir, maybe just even sending like a sorry email to everybody. So I know some people make it of it that, oh, she needs our help now. She not remember we exist. That's fine. You might be lucky, maybe out of the 5 or 6 people you reach out to, one person will respond to you for reference. But that being said, I am learning over time that in terms of references, it doesn't necessarily, I don't know what you're applying for. For example, for me, I know that one of the NGO I volunteered for over 5 years wrote one of my reference, and I got into whatever it is I applied for. So NGOs can write your reference. It could even be someone you've worked once for. I mean, they just need to. Don't now, again, be very careful, because these days when people apply to school, Nigerians say, go and volunteer somewhere. So when it's time for recommendation, don't do things out of my end goal is just to get the recommendation out of this relationship and run away. No.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to apply for my PhD. I was able to scale with my master's, but for PhD now, it's quite difficult.
Okay, maybe I'll let Dr. Osaye speak to this because I feel like maybe some of the academic reference are like strictly from your university. Maybe another idea could be speaking to like a professor, maybe still from your school or another school, telling them you want to like TA with them for like 3 months, help them guide their kids. Just random thoughts coming through my head as I'm just trying to help you problem solve, help them
Thank you
guide
so
the
much.
students they are teaching. And then at the end, maybe you can be clear with them that this is what happened to you in the past. Your end goal is actually to get a reference, but you really also want to do a good work for them. That, hey, I
Yeah.
want to really do a good work for you. I would help you maybe lecture some students, mark the script. At the end, do you mind writing like a referee for me? I feel, to be honest, one thing I want you to know is that your life is not entirely doomed just because of what happened. God forbid, it is not even possible. There are different
Thank
ways
you.
around it. But I mean, let me let Dr. Osaye speak since she's the one that's done like that's done PhD.
Okay. Honestly, character is very important. Like if I want to get a PhD student now, one of the things, and reference letters are very important if you want to go into academics, right? And if you want to work in a place like the US generally, aside from even academic, recommendations like letters are key. And you know, like I mentioned an example before, they actually even spoke to them on the phone to get some information about me. So, but like she said, your life is not doomed because of that. The first step is you acknowledge that you were wrong at some point, and they don't always have to be the one to write recommendation letters. If you're going to go in for a PhD, the kind of recommendation letters they expect from you will be one, they will expect a recommendation letter from maybe your undergraduate project supervisor. They need one from, let's say, maybe at least one from either your master's or your undergraduate. They need something like that from that. If you've worked in the period of you graduating and the time you want to go for your PhD, you can also apply. And one of the things I can advise you now, if you cannot get that kind of letter at all, is to see if you can work with someone, maybe do a little project and all of that. And it depends on the school that you're going to as well. I know in the US, they expect you to have some like kind of I don't have detail about the application that you're trying to get into, but definitely recommendation letters are key, particularly for PhD students. They would try to get recommendation letter from like your PhD supervisor or maybe your master's supervisor. And if you can't find any of that, just look for one of the former lecturers that have taught you and let them write a recommendation letter. I hope that answers your question, but if I'm not clear enough, you can just...
It really helped. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Osaye. Thank you so much, Temilade, for sharing with us today. This has really been an insightful session. And thank you so much for answering all the questions. Thank you so much, everyone who sent in your questions, who engaged as well. It's a pleasure to have you all join us today for this webinar. And we hope that you have been able to take something from this session and also enjoyed it even as much as I have learned from this session as well. So we would be closing right now. We'll be ending the session. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have our social media handles. They should be displayed shortly or put in the chat, but we have our website that you can reach us at our different social media handles as well. SWIS Africa, SWIS Africa. And also we have an email as well if you wanted to reach us for any reason. Then I believe you can reach out to Dr. Osaye or Temilade on LinkedIn as well if you would like to. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn if you're not following us already. So for next year, right now we do still have the interviews that we would be releasing monthly, and we will be having some opportunities as well and some other sessions and events that would be coming up. Those we will be sharing with you via email. And that would be everything, I believe. So we would have the session uploaded to our YouTube channel as well once everything has been portioned out so that you can revisit each session if you would like to at any point, or you can even share it as well with other people on your social media platforms. So just keep an eye out on that. If you're not following us already on YouTube as well, it's SWIS Africa. Our details are displayed on the screen. So you can follow us, you can share, you can subscribe, like the videos, and that would be all for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.